correct working end on the anteriors. Think when you're using the universal anterior across, two A's, anterior across. So that means the lower shank is going to go across the tooth. So to determine the correct working end here, I'm going to have to change. So anterior across. So that lower shank will go across the tooth. So again here, you're going to go just on the other side of the midline. So the other side, anterior across.
I just poked myself with the instrument. I mean, it hasn't been used on anyone before, but
Is it bleeding?
a little bit.
Would you go wash it off?
Okay.
They're not contaminated.
Okay.
If you're gonna poke yourself, this is the time to do it. Everybody just poke yourself, get it over with. Okay, so can you determine the correct working end there? So the lower shank is the visual clue. Anterior across.
And this is also like explore, multi-horizontal, oblique.
Yes,
Talk about that.
yes. You'll be in the same operator positions as with the Explorer. Again, you can see if you couldn't pass the Explorer or you didn't understand what you were doing with it, you're not going to be able to move on to these other instruments. Okay?
So I have a question. The distal lingual surfaces, we'd be using the outer edge?
On the anteriors?
Yes, on the
Yes.
interiors.
So only the outer cutting edges are used to instrument the anterior teeth. Only the outer edge is used to instrument the anterior teeth. Yes.
Does the working ends change for when you're doing towards you and away from you? For the anteriors?
Yes.
So same working end.
So, you know how, so like towards you? I'm not right.
Yeah, I had to double check.
And then,
Wait.
But just you keep in mind that only the outer edge is used for anterior teeth. So if you have any questions about how to determine the outer edge, let me know now. Yes? Okay.
Wait, so then you'd flip it for the
So let's look.
away
This is
surfaces?
the lower shank.
Yeah, it's a difference.
Toe facing towards you. Okay, so here's one edge and here's the other edge.
Because,
No,
yeah, because
your
in order
handle is here, correct? This edge is closer to the
outer
handle.
edge.
This edge is farthest away from the
Distal.
handle.
And then
This is the inner
surfaces
edge,
towards, huh?
and this is the outer edge. Because the outer edge is farthest away from the handle. The inner edge is closest to the handle.
yes, yes.
Inner, outer. Inner, closer, outer, farther away.
tells me by looking at it this way instead of
Okay.
this way.
Show me the inner edge. Hold this perpendicular, hold that lower shank perpendicular with the toe towards you. Which is the outer edge. Correct, that's, yes.
So the outer edge is the cutting?
Both of them are, okay, this was a good question. What is the cutting edge? Both of them. Both edges are cutting edges. You have two cutting edges on the universal.
And then so if you're under tooth here, then
And you always use the outer edge on it. So let's determine which is the outer edge. Okay, so that is the one that's always on the tooth for the interiors. And then see how that shank is over the tooth. So, did that clear it up or not? Okay.
So when you go from surfaces towards,
Okay, so if we're only using the outer,
you have to
do
flip
we just skip the
Is that correct?
easel then?
Is that what you guys
No,
said?
you're gonna do the same thing.
Because in order to use the outer
So these are
edge,
surfaces towards you.
Yeah.
or the outer
Okay, you're sitting at 9 o'clock.
Right, and you switch
Now you're gonna
it.
switch to 12. And now this is the outer edge.
Oh, okay, good. I get it, okay, I get it now.
So you still flip it, just like you did with the Explorer.
do you do the telescoping
I'm sorry, you will, you'll have to do some telescoping.
for the premolar, right?
Yeah, you get it, exactly.
So the toe is facing you. So the lower shank, which is back here, before it makes
You
the
guys have got it figured out.
They're basically the same thing.
perpendicular to this way. So the part that's closer to the handle, which is here, is the inner edge.
On the
Further
posteriors.
from the handle is the outer edge.
On the anteriors, it's always the outer edge.
well, I don't understand why we can't
Where
put
you're
it right,
at.
because like we're looking at it like, oh, but this is the same thing, because this would be the
Okay, how are we doing?
So does it point the toe at you? Make sure the lower shank crosses.
and this would be the outer edge.
Yeah, because it's.
Yeah, but you're the
Like, oh yeah, as long as you.
What do you mean? For interiors?
Are you doing the same side?
I don't know, what teeth are we doing?
That makes sense.
So the toes are coming at me, right?
As long as
This is the this is the inner edge.
Okay, let's do one of these skill building exercises together.
It's perpendicular.
So let's,
But
the maxillary right central incisor, the facial aspect.
This is outer.
Okay, first we have to determine what tooth that is.
17.
The maxillary, so we're gonna be on the top, right, so we're gonna be over here, central incisor,
Number 8.
number 8. Facial aspect. Right-handed people, we're gonna do surfaces away. Left-handed people, we're gonna do surfaces towards. So where are we gonna sit? We're doing surfaces away if you're right-handed, so everybody's gonna sit at 12. Okay, so select the correct working end and place it in the get ready zone. Do you guys remember what just lining it up? So we're in the get ready zone. Insert the working end to the base of the pocket. Okay, now there's something more that we need to add here when we go to the base of the pocket. We always want to insert as close to 0 degrees as we can. Now, what I mean by that is you want the face of the blade as flat to the surface as you can get it. Now, that does not mean you will have this completely flat on the tooth surface, the face, but just as close as you can. The purpose of that is so that you do not have blades that are cutting the tissue in the pocket. So if the face of the blade is as flat to the tooth as it can, those cutting edges are not going to be cutting the tissue. So you want to insert as flat as you can to the tooth. Then you're going to open it up to your 70 to 80 degrees. Okay, I got nothing from you guys. Is that understood, or is
Insert
it?
it flat so you don't cut the tissue.
And then open it up to the correct angle. Everybody got it? Cool. I usually have a lot of problem with that. Now, are you always going to be able to insert it completely flat at 0 degrees?
Probably not.
Probably not. You're going to have shanks and angles and teeth and tissue and tongue and mirrors and all of that in the way. But as close as you can get to 0 degrees. Okay? So,
So like this.
insert the working end to the base of the pocket. Adapt the toe third, remember the toe third, to the root surface. Imagine locking the toe third against the root surface. So locking it means make sure that it's stable so that you're not going to cause trauma. Instrument from the midline of the facial surface toward the mesial surface. Okay, so here we are. All the way up to the incisal edge. So I'm going to insert it as close to 0 as I can get it. I'm going to open it up to the correct angulation.
You're starting at the midline?
I'm going to start just on the other side of the midline, like we did with the Explorer. So,
One last pencil.
can you see that or not? Yeah. Thank you. So I'm going to insert as close to 0 as I can get it. I'm going to open it up to the correct angulation. I'm going to start on the other side of the midline. And there I am. Yes.
Do we start at 0?
No, you're not going to start the strokes at 0. You're only going to insert as close to 0 as you can. Then you're going to open it up and begin your working stroke. Because if you use your strokes at 0, you're just going to burnish. And of course, that's not what we want to do. What? Sure. So I'm going to start as close to 0 as I can get it. Now I'm going to open it up to
Okay,
the
so-
correct angulation.
And then opening it up to just tilt it at 0. Let me.
You really got it
The
wrong.
bottom of the shank is across the tooth. And I'm going to pop my finger first. So that it is-
I think I was using too much of the tone. It looks like it's
Like that?
running a little bit low, right?
So, zeros when you, like this, so if you remember 90 is like that. So 0 is you enter like that. So you're not gonna get anything down.
And don't forget, as you go around that line angle, you have to roll the instrument. You're gonna kind of roll the instrument at the same time. So we'll do all the surfaces towards and all the surfaces away.
A little more. Because you're like right up there. You're like right up there.
You sure? About halfway in.
Oh, no, you're right now you were like,
Oh, well,
yeah. I guess, yeah, when you see it there, yeah, looks different.
As close as you can get it.
So, start in and then tilt.
Did you see her do it?
Get stuck.
You're a lefty, but.
Rolling it.
That would be completely zero.
Okay, so when you enter, you enter.
Okay.
So if you come in like.
So I would do,
That side, this is dual bladed, so this part's gonna come down, and that's how you bleed.
see, there's no way you're gonna get that to down faster. So just as close as you can get.
Yeah, and then you switch it up to your 70 or whatever.
So it's like you're inserting on the side.
So you just concentrate.
I'm gonna use up on my nose.
Like that, and then you move here, and then you start your stroke.
Go like two.
So you don't start in the middle and move over.
Do you have tissue?
And then make sure you start. Yeah. Yeah, say that this is the midline, you're gonna start just right there. So what you want to do is overlap the other, so now when you do the other side, it's on this side.
So this, where it like regardless if you flip it, it's still gonna be
So go down.
So Fido, it's still gonna be Fido.
And then go up. And you can only get the side.
Only vertical strokes, right?
When you flip it, it looks like Fido, but it's still the outer edge.
I feel like you can't get like the
All vertical?
You can use the outer edge.
So like straight, because just when I enter the gum bag,
Regardless,
I go
if
down.
this flips, it's still gonna be the outer edge.
Okay, now let's just talk about the horizontal stroke up here, because I think you can see this better. Now remember, we're going to do the horizontal stroke, line angle to line angle.
Outside blade?
It is going to, yes, outside edge. Just make sure that you have the outside edge, and that is what we're going to do, line angle to line angle. Yes.
Do we do the horizontal stroke subjectively as well?
Okay, this is a good question, you guys. Do we do this subgingivally? This instrument is always subgingival. The sickle is on the enamel, so that's supra. This is subgingivally, so this is always going to be from the CEJ down to the base of the pocket. How do we know which instrument? If it has the tip on it, the sharp point, that's supra gingivally. If it has the rounded toe, it's subgingivally. The reason for that is, do you want that sharp tip on that tissue, or do you want the rounded toe on that tissue? You want that rounded toe on it. Okay. How are we doing?
I have a question for the horizontal. You said it's the outer surface, but does it matter, like if you use the 5 end or the 6 end?
It depends on where you're at. Whatever the outer, for the anterior, no, don't worry about the 5 or 6. That's not gonna tell you what you need to know. You need to know where the outer and the inner edge are.
Right, but, so I can use the outer edge of either side? For number 8 that we were just looking at?
It's different for whether you're maxillary or mandibular. You always just use the outer edge. So it's not like,
So I should have.
don't worry about 5 or 6, just worry about outer.
Well, I was just trying to figure out side, because if we're.
It's working and I'm getting confused again.
That's what I was asking. Round. I think you still enter at 0.
Showing where the outer edge is horizontal.
Just remember when it's this way.
So now flip
That's
this
why I
way
asked you
forward.
about it.
Show me where
The
the outer
outer
edge is.
edge. Okay, what about?
That will work down here.
So it's different for mesial and for distal and mesial. So you'd flip
Depends on
it.
whether you do maxillary.
Here, and this is the outer edge, so you're gonna put that
So when you go to distal,
here.
It's like this for it.
That on the
but it's different. So distal surfaces towards, it's gonna be like this, and then you're gonna flip it to go to the mesial. Okay, just wanna make sure, because that's the outer edge.
Yeah.
So that's what you're going to do.
You just like position
This is the outer.
you don't need to worry about
You guys, there's a different determining the outer edge is gonna tell you whether you're doing maxillary or mandibular. Because it's different. Okay, if you're sitting at 12 o'clock, maxillary and mandibular have different, you'll be doing different edges for those. Yes.
So, with the Explorer, because we're comparing it to the Explorer,
Uh-huh.
when we come in on the Explorer and we do our stroke, our vertical stroke into the, let's say distal surface, and we just turn it to come for the horizontal stroke, and we can go immediately into the oblique stroke. So we can't do that with this instrument. We have to flip it after doing the vertical stroke to go into the horizontal.
We didn't do a oblique print.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so for a distal, okay. That's why I think I'm getting confused. 'Cause that was,
I'm so confused with your question, I can't answer it.
so, cause I think.
Try me one more time.
Okay, so when we go from the vertical stroke
This
into
is sharp
the
against
horizontal.
and this is sharp against.
From distal to, are you talking posterior or anterior?
For anterior, or just in general, I think I'm just confused.
Okay.
I was just not flipping the instrument from a vertical stroke to a horizontal, but for the universal, we have to do that.
When you're going, if you're doing an anterior, surfaces away, okay, I have to do it. So let's do anterior, surfaces away. Then you're going to have to flip it to do the horizontal.
Okay.
And no oblique.
Do it flip.
No
Flip
oblique
the
on
whole
the
instrument.
anterior.
No
Just
oblique,
horizontal.
just horizontal. Okay, did you guys hear that? No oblique, just horizontal on the anteriors.
You have to be
Yeah.
mesial. You
Yeah.
have, when you're going to.
Yes, if you're doing surfaces away, like that, and then you've done all your surfaces away, now you're gonna do the horizontal stroke. You're gonna have to flip it to keep that outer